What secret are you taking to the grave? I once took a week-long trip to London. My mother asked me to get her a small rock from there because neither of us have ever been out of the country. So I spend the whole trip looking for this rock and finally find the perfect one. Fantastic, she'll love it when I get back. So I get home, I'm taking inventory of all of my souvenirs and the rock is gone. I immediately think back to where I last saw it. It was on the bedside table in the hotel in London. Crap, so I quickly run outside and find a decent rock. I clean it off. We live in Georgia, freaking red clay is noticeable AF, and wrap it nicely. I eventually gave it to her with the story I got it from a castle. It'd break her heart to know that I got it from our backyard. I was in kindergarten, probably 5 years old, and during sleeping time I asked a girl to show me her song. I threw rocks at the school with one of my best mates and some other student tattled on us. Basically, we both got the paddle. Basically, they smack your bam, and they sent a letter home to my dad. My dad received the letter and I lied to him and said I never threw the rocks. My dad, bless his heart, believed me and took it to our school principal and convinced him that I wouldn't lie about such things. Since the principal wanted to rectify it for my dad's sake, he offered me a free voucher for an ice cream as an apology. It's 15 years down the track now, and I still feel really bad for it. I feel like if I told my dad now, it would break his heart. In Girton, my dad made a deal with me. If I got an average of 88%, he'd buy me a new laptop. Well, the marks came in and I only got something like an 84 to 85% average. Well, frick that, I want my laptop. So I went online to the regional school board's website and downloaded a PIF template of the report card. I don't know why they would have this available. Used a PIF editor to fill in the blanks and voila, got a brand new laptop. No regrets. Do you know that I give you money for uploading my videos to TikTok, and the one who gains the most views in a month gets an extra $1,000? More details on my Discord server, link in the comments. My freshman year of college, I was really hungover one morning, and I was back at my parents' house for the rest of the weekend. I was wearing loose-fitting athletic shorts with no underwear and kind of rocking back and forth in front of the TV to feel its satisfying slap. Any dude knows what I'm talking about. Well, I went to fart, but instead a stream of diarrhea squirted out just at the right moment and completely missed my shorts but got all over the carpet. I went to the bathroom to grab some TP, and by the time I got back to the living room, my dad was on his hands and knees cleaning it up and yelling at my dog. I've never had the heart to tell him it was my accident. My sister and I were on holiday together recently and very drunk one night when we got back from the bar. Naturally, we started drinking more because we were on holiday. She has the ice cube tray in her hand, opens the window simultaneously and loses her focus and drops the tray 5 floors to the street, hitting a big guy square in the dome. He looks up and started screaming and shouting in Italian. I live in Rome, so I understood he was calling us some bad names. We just closed the window and continued drinking while we could hear this man shouting he was going to come up there and rip our heads off. Please never find me, Mr. Scary Italian Man. When my brother committed suicide, I was walking into his house to go hang out, and I never knocked because we're best friends, so his house is my house and my house is his house. Anyway, I walked and got some food from the kitchen and figured he might have a girl over because usually he'll hear me and say what's up from across the house, so I didn't bother him. I've been in his house eating for about 10 minutes when I hear the gunshot that killed him. When anyone asks, I tell them I found him like that. I don't think I'll be able to ever tell anyone I know that if I would have just knocked or walked down the hall, I might have saved his life. I had, at the time, the freakiest buck wild freak of my life, with my best roommate's sister. In the middle of it, we heard someone come in. Thought it was the other roommate. Nope, it was him. Proceeded to have quieter frick, thinking he would leave eventually. Nope. Marathon gaming session in the living room. Had to pull out my car behind the place in the alley, climb on my car, and help her down from the second-story window. When I went back home, he asked me if his sister had come by because she left her keys in the kitchen. I said I didn't know. He thinks the other roommate bashed her because, well, he looks like a dude that f***s dude's sisters. My parents took me to get my hearing checked when I was 12 because I wasn't responding when they called my name. I pretended not to hear some of the beeps in a hearing aid test room. As a result, I wore a hearing aid for 2 years when I was 12 to 14 years old. I don't know why I did that. I was giving my cat a belly rub and it jizzed all over my hand. You must give really good belly rubs. My dad's a National Socialist and he regularly goes to meetings. I was raised on Germanic folklore and the idea that I'm superior to others because I'm of German descent. I have plenty of Jewish and slavish friends and I just tell them my dad did when I was younger. When I was 13, I was told that my great-grandparents were going to move to Texas and start their journey to heaven. I was crushed. I would spend every day with them up until they moved in May of 2009. Before they moved, I took a shoebox and decorated it with a picture of them and angel wings. I took my favorite shirt, my Pop-Pop's favorite button-up, printed their favorite things, and stashed them away in the box. They would search for the shirt and assume they packed it away. 1 month later, my Pop-Pop packed it away, then my Yi packed it a week after him. I was crushed. I never told anyone but my current boyfriend about the box, and most likely never will because I'm selfish. I've only opened it up 3 times in the past 6 years. I swear the shirts still smell like them. Broke into a church. Door to the children's daycare thing was open, then took a tiny kid's chair. Me and my wife were going through tough times. I just got back from Afghanistan. I played Russian roulette with my .357 Magnum, 3 loaded. I lost. Getting a divorce now and alive. One night I woke up with my mind in a twist. My mom was in the hospital at the time. I had a crazy urge to call them and check on her, but I reasoned not to because I couldn't think of an excuse, so I fell back to sleep. 5 a.m. I get a call that they checked on her and she didn't have a pulse. I just think there was something I could have done that destroys me to even think about it. I worked for a shipping company at a customer desk. A guy I had known came in to ship a package. He was a known drug dealer in my town. He didn't recognize me. The package was wrapped in duct tape. I took the package, brought it out back, and made it disappear into my backpack. After my shift, I opened the package, found $37,890 in cash. I never went back to the job, never heard anything about it. I left Texas a month later with cash in hand. Power play. Also, that dude probably got murdered. All my friends think they watched me lose my virginity on my front lawn one fateful summer night when I was 13. We were actually just pretending to have sex in order to frolic with my friends. We were both too scared to actually do it. I've never corrected them. My first night away from my parents in a new town for college, I was raped, also lost my virginity, by a girl with a combination of severe autism and Down syndrome. I had passed out in a bed after a party. First day of college, why not celebrate, right? I awoke to find myself tied up and her slamming me. I tried to fight back or throw her off, but she burst my nose, then shocked me out. I woke up the next morning untied, covered in blood and semen, and my clothes completely ripped up from scissors. Now 23, living with my girlfriend, the question obviously came up once or twice. It's generally a funny, embarrassing story for most people. I can't bring myself to tell her the truth. I also won't ever let her get on top while we have intercourse. My dad was a biker. He died in a motorcycle accident. He had this huge old garage that he spent hours in. I was cleaning it out with my sister and we found a locked briefcase buried in a cupboard. We popped the lock and it was full of women's clothing, stockings, lingerie, things like that. And definitely not my mom's size. I was peed. He had been cheating on her. Then I got into his AOL accounts. My mom can't work a computer any better than she could work a spaceship, so I had to go in to shut his accounts down. There I found all of these screen names that he had made over the years. Every one of them had to do with stockings and panties. That's when I realized that the clothing in the briefcase wasn't a woman's. It was his. I found tons of gay on his computer as well. My sister and I swore never to tell, and we got rid of all of the evidence. My mom is extremely conservative, and even though I don't agree with her point of view, I know it would kill her to find out. That briefcase is sitting in the dump now. My dad cheated on my mom with her sister when I was born. My aunt moved in to help my mother with a newborn in me. My mother told me while she was drunk at a dinner party, and started it all off with, I know I sometimes sound like I hate you, but there's a reason. So even though I love both of my parents, I secretly think they're both pretty awful excuses for human beings. My dad for obvious reasons, my mother for holding it all against me. In my younger years, I had a neighbor that constantly left a mess in the yard, making it look like a junkyard, and they let the kids just run around tricking out the entire neighborhood. I tried to sort it out civilly with them by asking them to stop doing things that peed off everyone, but the only response I got was that I was racist and they would target me and say I touched their kids if I ever talked to them again. They were great at buttholes, so I decided to respond in kind and made an anonymous tip to the cops that they were selling drugs. I did this for maybe 4 months, asking my buddies to make similar tips every now and then. Well, one day I come home from school, the whole neighborhood is outside on the street and the butthole's house had cop cars and a van outside. Turns out the tips worked and the cops finally checked it out, but then I see the mother and father getting let out in cuffs. Turns out when the cops showed up, it was just 2 officers, but when they went to the door to talk to them, the father took off out the back door. Long story short, that made the cops chase him down, drag him back, search the house, and end up finding a fucking of pills, cock, and weed stashed all over the house. Since they had kids, the hammer came down on the hard for that, and in the end, they were both arrested for dating and the kids were taken away. Not sure if it was the right thing, and I will never let anyone know, but at least after that they weren't tricking out the neighborhood anymore. If you haven't watched my other videos, then be sure to watch this one. I bet it will amaze you. Or you can watch all our videos in a row in this playlist. Write your stories in the comments, subscribe, turn on the bell, and go to our Discord. There we give you money for uploading our videos to TikTok. You uploaded, you gain views, you got money. Link in the comments.